Welcome back, everybody, to the news portion of the podcast. It's been a minute since we've talked about some current events in the space, and that's what we're going to do today. So I wanted to start talking about the Bitcoin ETF, but I know we can go a multitude of regions here in terms of what's been going on since the last time we've all kind of been together talking about the news. So I'd say Bitcoin ETF probably arguably the biggest thing that's happened between the last time we all met to talk about this stuff. So I guess just like, what are your thoughts? There was quite a few ETFs that dropped the day that it kind of opened up and caused some interesting things. I have some theories about why things happened the way they did. I could be wrong though. I mean, my opinions aren't my own. I do a lot of research and I just kind of pick from the best things that I've read or listened to. And a lot of my attention in terms of what's going on with Bitcoin right now, my eyes go towards Grayscale a little bit because the way people were able to do that pre-buy before the ETF, not being able to buy Bitcoin kind of at a discount price, and then the ETF goes live, market explodes, sell off, and then now here we come, crashing down once again, and like it was going to ebb and flow going into the beginning of the year. Like I wasn't expecting us to come into 2024 guns a-blazing. Like here we go, 50K. But I wasn't necessarily. I was expecting to stay a little flatter. I mean, it still are kind of flat compared to what they've been. So I'm not like here, freaking out, because I do think with the halving coming up the week of April 22nd, that's still a lot to look forward to in 2024. So I don't know, thoughts. I guess I'm being a little bit of a pessimist, optimist. I don't know. I usually stay pretty even about this, but thoughts.
Yeah, I think price wise, I think we're at a great spot before the halving, right? We're like, I think at this moment it's below 40,000, but like our peak was 69,000, right? Like we didn't even hit 70, I don't think. Maybe on some exchange they hit 70. But so anyway, I think it's in great shape already going into the halving. I'm curious to hear your theory. My theory is that a lot of these ETFs had pre-bought so much Bitcoin so that they weren't buying stuff over the counter as inflows were coming in. I think it's been shown though that like holdings have gone up since they launched, right? Like across the board, right? Because obviously Grayscale has sold some off, but the other ones have picked up more than Grayscale has sold off. Two things. One, to clarify, so the Grayscale thing was interesting. I'm kind of curious to dig more into that. Grayscale had their Bitcoin Trust running for a long time, and they converted that into the ETF. So I do wonder if, like you're saying, it was just an arbitrage opportunity that you had a lot of people buying in, right before it converted to an ETF. The other thing this is something I personally found interesting. I know Connor had seen me tweet about this. Vanguard notably did not file for an ETF. Lots of companies did, but Vanguard did not. And
it's
Vanguard
not their thing, though. It's not their thing.
Which is fine, but Vanguard is not letting you trade any of the Bitcoin ETFs. So I can trade a lot of other BlackRock ETFs on Vanguard. I could trade Fidelity ETFs on Vanguard, right? But I cannot trade any Bitcoin ETF. So it's just kind of funny to see a lot of people realize that. I don't know, maybe there's a lot of people in the same boat as me where they're moving funds away from Vanguard and waiting for that to complete the transfer before we buy in. I hope we stay lower for another week or so that I can buy in cheap. But anyway, that's those are my thoughts. Connor, what do you want to say?
Well, I don't think there was any funny business going on with Grayscale, though. You got to understand, before these ETFs went live, there was no way people with retirement accounts could invest in Bitcoin, at least with their retirement accounts. And so Grayscale basically found a way around this by creating the Grayscale Trust, and people would buy shares in it. And by buying shares in that, you were basically you had some sort of risk tolerance into Bitcoin. So it was totally understandable, and that's why there was a discount there too, is not because Grayscale enacted a discount, but because it obviously wasn't worth as much as buying Bitcoin because you didn't actually hold it. You were essentially accepting risk that Grayscale was going to hold the Bitcoin for you, and hopefully they didn't go under. So there was an amount of risk there. But yeah, as soon as the ETF goes live and now you can pull your money out in Bitcoin, there's going to be sell pressure. And there's just sell pressure in the market in general. If you're a big institution or a big whale and you want to sell Bitcoin, you want to sell where there's a lot of buying pressure, because then you don't dump the market. And then if you try to sell your Bitcoin, you get less money for it. You want to sell into support. So it's just natural market, I think, economics. I don't think there's any funny business with this pullback. I think it's probably a good time to buy. And I think pre-halving, you have your pre-halving dump, and markets tend to pull back about 20% as they're going up. They don't just go straight up. So I think this is to be expected. And I think it could pull back more. Who knows? But I honestly don't think we're in a bad place. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Let's just take a look at all the Bitcoin ETFs here, because there was about like 1, 2.
But Grayscale's been fighting this battle for a long time. Grayscale's been trying to be an ETF forever. Yeah. So I give them a lot of cred. I don't think they're to blame for this.
There's a lot. There's a lot of them. Like you can even get like 2 times exposure. Yeah, there's a lot of ways you can dress this up.
Previously, they had, I don't know if they had these 2 times exposures before, but they definitely had futures ETFs since I believe it was 2021. Those were approved, and they're approved for Ethereum as well. But they're looking for that spot.
What a scam that was! They approved the futures ETF, so you can basically gamble on crypto, but you can't just invest spot into crypto. Ridiculous!
What a mess!
So you guys have anything else interesting about the ETFs?
It came out recently. Oh gosh, I forget who. One of the ETFs, one of the companies behind it, shared their wallet address that had, was storing the Bitcoins that people could track they had proof of reserves. And it was so funny because everyone was like, wait a minute, this is not a multi-sig. This is a single signature. It's wallet, like a legacy wallet too. It's an old, it's not whatever. It hasn't taken SegWit into account. So it's whatever, more than 5-6 years old. Anyway, it's very funny that came out. I hope they increase their security. Good. I don't know. It'll be interesting to see if other people share theirs
and
as well.
I think that there was something about Coinbase in there too, probably because that ETF was actually holding its funds through Coinbase or through whatever the Coinbase custodian was. So there was some question about custodians' legacy Bitcoin holdings. But that was interesting. I fortunately don't have more information on that. I think it was Fidelity too, but I could be wrong. Maybe it was a different one.
I think it was a smaller one.
Was it? Okay.
Because it was, I think they were trying to get the publicity of we shared our thing. But anyway.
I do support that, though. I want to see more of these companies, the institutions coming out and being transparent and being public.
Definitely.
I wanted to cover talking about transparency and actually talking about kind of the reverse of transparency, talking about privacy. I did see that Roman Semenov, who is one of the 2 major head developers of Tornado Cash, he is a U.S. citizen now. I think he was originally from Russia. It's one of maybe it was Ukraine, but I think it was Russia. And he is a U.S. citizen, and now he's facing legal action from the U.S. government because of his involvement. Frankly, by all evidence, purely just building Tornado Cash at this point. And I know there are claims that maybe there was some ties to North Korea, but nothing has come out that really could support that claim. It really looks like he's just somebody who built a privacy protocol on Ethereum and is now being targeted by the U.S. government just for building it. So he's asking for people to donate to his legal defense fund. And a lot of people in the crypto industry are supporting him. I saw Bankless gave him $10K, a number of other figures. A favorite, Amin of Moloch DAO is promoting it too. And Brantley, I think, shared it or commented on it. So a lot of people in the crypto industry are supporting Roman. He's a great developer, and it's sad to see that we're targeting privacy protocols on Ethereum because we need more privacy development on blockchain in general.
I will. This is I wish I would have dug into this more. This is a take I heard maybe a few months ago, maybe a year ago. Someone pointed out that there are other like privacy tools online that were simply open source, simply developed in an open source way, such that like the developers didn't profit at all from them. And that, like, I don't know, is that part of the fault of the Tornado Cash people, is that they like did a token launch and that they like received funding for
it could be.
running
I mean,
this
it
privacy
could
thing.
be as arbitrary as that, but I mean, it's
I don't know. It's very
unfortunate.
random. I don't know how much that has played into the court cases and all that, but
It's
I
up
don't
to
think
the
it's played
law
into the
at this
court case,
point.
but it does. Well, it played into it in this case that it now there's some association that you didn't just create this. Now you're actually running it too. If you hold a lot of these tokens and you're in the DAO, then you're basically
you create
kind
it,
of a
you run it,
stakeholder
and you
in Tornado
create
Cash.
it, you run it, and you're profiting from it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So
It's the combination of the three. It's not just like one particular thing. It's like it's that there's those three elements there.
right. No, I don't really think there's culpability there, but it's kind of hard to fault somebody for. Obviously, you did a lot of work building this thing, and to just say, okay, we just need people to just build things for free. I mean,
Yeah, it just
crypto doesn't have great incentive structures for actually funding things, unfortunately.
it's like
well, I
hey,
mean, so
here's this
Well, no
token.
tech does. That's just building tech in general.
That's emerging tech. Yeah,
well,
that's Silicon.
Well,
that's all.
So just
that's all.
one more thing,
Silicon
Matt, here is
Valley.
because we just talked to Kevin Burgess of Faith Tech, and I mean, in general, if you're out there building tech, if you're building new tech, you're not making money until hopefully things get off the ground. And crypto has found kind of a way to get past that quickly by just releasing tokens and doing these crowdfunding schemes.
I like the crowdfunding, but I will say, I don't know, just as a counter example, one that comes to mind is Ben at Scopelift, right? They've developed Umber Cash like purely through grants. And so I don't know. I mean, you know, grants crowdfunded on what's that site that does come to me. But anyway, I don't know. Is there's Gitcoin, is the one, where people do crowdfund and they, you know, match it. And so I don't know if there's no stake, there's no profit sharing or no profiting. It's funded, but I don't know. So I'm curious to maybe see more development in that area. I don't know. I know other people who are funded by grants or funded by other institutions just to build and open source things and not to profit off of them. But anyway,
I mean, that's all the city of Palo Alto. Like how many $100 bills have been stacked up and set on fire in that city with all of the startups that go on there? It's like jeepers. Like it's just
No, I'm not anti. No, this is the thing. I'm not anti-startup. I'm not anti-funding or anti-whatever investing. I'm just. It's interesting, right? I wonder how much that has impacted this particular case. That Tornado Cash wasn't simply a Monero. I don't even know if Monero was developed.
I'm anti-startup without a solid business plan.
But
okay. No, this is actually a good conversation. Sure. I know we don't want to extend this news thing too long, but I'll just say, like, I have been thinking about this a lot, and I'm like, I'm a capitalist. I believe in the idea of going out there, building your startup, you know, working long hours to get it off the ground, attracting donors and building something from nothing. Like I love that culture. But I was just thinking about this in the case of particularly OpenAI, and like, okay, this started as a mission not to be a startup. Like this was a nonprofit organization with a mission, and Sam Altman comes along and basically turns it into a private venture that is now making money, and people want to support Sam Altman as a startup capitalist, but it's like he wasn't really a startup founder in the same way that Brian Armstrong or Coinbase was a startup, because Coinbase was Brian Armstrong's project. He built that, you know, with his sweat and his tears from nothing. OpenAI is kind of different. And it's like, really, for Web3 to succeed and for this decentralized vision, we actually need people to kind of make sacrifices. Like you're building, I don't want to be a socialist, but there has to be a different mindset. Not everything can be about money.
But it's not a socialist thing, right? I mean, it's not like OpenAI was government funded before they went
Well, I mean,
private.
socialist in the sense of
they got
for social good, for the social utility.
Well, yeah, but that's it. I'm not, but I don't want the word. That's not socialist, right? That's not. We don't collectively own the internet. The internet isn't socialist in that way. It's a public good, right? It's an open source. It's public good. Which I think is good, and I think in general, software development and maybe crypto even more so, is more amenable to that kind of a mindset. But no, I agree. I don't think it's bad that, Silicon Valley has infiltrated the philosophy of crypto a little bit, right? That there are projects that are investments and whatever, take profits and all that. But yeah, I think that there's this ethos that we can't get rid of, and maybe we need to get back to a little bit. I don't know. Someone I also saw on Twitter recently, someone was praising, I forget which venture capitalist and venture capital group, but that they have a grants program as well, that they fund some things, not looking for a return, just to say, hey, I'd like for this to get built. I believe in this person.
Tax write-off.
It is. It's a tax write-off, right? If we want to go back to being capitalist, it is a tax write-off to donate charitably. So, maybe we can incentivize it more.
Into a charity so I can write it off my taxes.
We're incorporating as a, what is it, 503, 50, whatever it is.
503.
We really don't make it take too long. So let's
503C.
We got like maybe 5 minutes left. So let's jump in quickly to that Christian founder of the of what was that? It was a scam. Let's be honest.
The whole thing was a mess. Yeah. So I was digging through the documentation on the website a bit. The coin was called Index, and the idea is that it would track the top 100 cryptos. But they didn't own any. It wasn't a fund. It wasn't backed by anything. It was just like, hey, understand that this coin should be priced at, the cumulative total of the top 100.
So there was no mechanism, you're saying, for it to actually track?
Not that I could find. Not that I could find. I should dig more into it, but the very fact that they weren't holding anything in a sort of fund, I was like, this is more hot air than Luna.
Yeah. All right. I'll say this, though. I don't like people attacking Christians in the space, number one. And I did what you shared, the tweet you shared, that was an edited video. So I went back and I watched the actual full-length video that he showed. I wanted to see exactly what his opinion is. And for basically the reasons you just explained, and the fact that he pulled money out for a home remodel in the midst of, obviously, this project was not really off the ground yet. It was still struggling a lot. For those two reasons, it's okay, you did wrong. This is not okay. I'm still on the fence on whether or not I think he did it with the full knowledge that he was creating a scam. I'm somewhat open to the fact that maybe he was just really didn't know what he was getting into. But he's got to be faulted for pulling the money out for the home remodel.
Yeah, in the words of Mark Cuban on Shark Tank, for those reasons, I'm out.
I agree. I don't know if he was dumb, if he was in over his head when it became more popular than he expected to, but the home remodel was bad. And then did he at least take a video of the home remodel? Yeah, that'd be great. Everyone owns a share of that part of his home. No, the one thing I don't like though is and again I saw the cut down video, so I don't know the whole story, but we want to support Christians in the space. I don't know that you can use hey, God told me to make this coin and that there will be liquidity, right? I don't know. I'm against people backing their currency with the word of God. I feel like that's
that's really bad.
Good.
That's really bad. In my opinion, that's awful. Don't do that, please. Please don't do that.
All right. Well, we'll agree. That was not a good project. That's not a good use of crypto. That's not what the vision is here. But
very interesting, though. Very fits in our niche.
We're called to admonish the sinner.
All right. Well, I don't want to, unless we want to touch on anything else, but I think that's the highlights over the past couple of weeks, at least.
And the lowlights. Yep.
And the lowlights, unfortunately. Yeah. But we're going to definitely be keeping up on this more this year. And try to keep up with weekly episodes. And hey, guys, you got to be careful in the space. Don't be throwing money into anything that comes your way just because it looks pretty. That's definitely not what we're promoting on the podcast.
Never mind. I'm not going to say anything. I agree with you, Connor. I agree with you. Yep.
All right.
Awesome.
All right. We'll see you guys next week.
Yep.